Hey guys, Joe DeMarco from the Crazy New York Driver Show. Today is Friday, September 12th, 2025. Welcome to another eBay video. Today, I have a lot to discuss with you guys. As you know, when you're selling on eBay or any e-commerce site, you're going to have your ups and your downs. But every once in a while, you go through a week of nothing but hell. Hell on earth. That's what I went through this week. And the funny part is, almost every problem we're going to discuss today happened from Sunday to late Monday. In that small 36 to 40 hour window, my God, it was just unbelievable. Some of the things that happened to me, and this is not all of them, this is just some of them, and in that period would be going 36 hours with no sales, but that happens, that I can accept. 3 returns on Sunday alone, 1 item not received case, 1 unfair negative feedback. Now, one more thing. Think about the things I just told you. All right? Group them all together as one entity. As much as that one entity bugs me, the next thing I'm going to tell you bugs me even more. And you know what it is? Another older person circumventing the eBay return system and calling me on the phone, and I'm sick of it. This person managed to do something no other person has ever done in their life. They called me on a Sunday afternoon. Think about it. What kind of a normal, rational person would call on a Sunday afternoon instead of calling Monday? They shouldn't even be calling. But if they're going to call, at least do it during business hours. Well, don't you worry. I school that person, and I'm going to tell you all about it. But now, let's get started with this week in eBay. So as I said, the week started off very poorly for poor Joe. No sales on Sunday. It was absolutely awful. Absolutely disgusting. I was so desperate. I did something that I would actually come to regret. And that was I had to send out offers to watchers. I have no luck with that. Either nobody responds or they do respond and something bad comes of it. Well, let me tell you what happened when I sent out offers to watchers. I think only 3 people responded. One guy accepted the offer and paid. But what concerned me about him was he accepted the offer at 8 o'clock in the morning. Nobody buys anything from me at 8 o'clock in the morning, all right? That's trouble waiting to happen. So I said to myself, let me hold off a minute. Let me hold off and wait for the cancellation to roll in. So I did that. I waited. It got to the point I couldn't wait anymore because I was leaving to go to take the shipping. So, all right, I print his label, box his item up. Swear to Christ, soon as that label is printed, bang. He writes to me and says, I want to cancel. This is not the right size for me. Number 1, he had already looked at the item and put it in his watch list because he wanted it. Number 2, he accepts the offer I sent him. What made him go back and check the listing after the fact, specifically after I printed the label? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And this pissed me off because As I said, if I haven't done any work yet, I'll accept the cancellation. But in this case, I had already boxed the item and it was sitting here. I did all the work. I just hadn't taken it. So I decided what I would do is I would accept the cancellation, but he would have to wait because everybody needs to learn a lesson. So, as I said, he bought the item 8 o'clock in the morning. I accepted the cancellation probably between 5 and 6 p.m. All right? What can I do? Another guy sent me a counter offer to the offer I sent him. Let's just say I sent him an offer of $120. He sent me a counter offer of $100. Okay, I accept. Never got $1. Never got $1. He pissed me off so much, not only did I block him, but I ended the listing. I don't want a chance of him sneaking in somewhere in a day or two and getting it. So I just relisted it. I clicked sell similar and I put it back up. All right. Oh, wait a minute. That happened twice this week. Twice. As I said, we got a lot more to talk about. I had 3 returns on Sunday alone, and one of them was that crackpot who circumvented the eBay return system, but I'll get to her in a minute. Now, over the last few weeks, I've been telling you guys an interesting story about an item not received. You may remember the beginning of this because it's been going on for weeks. About a month ago, I had an item listed and a prospective buyer wrote to me and said, if I buy this item, am I getting both items in the picture? And I said, yes, you're getting both. Didn't hear back from him for a week. But a week later, he buys the item. Even sends me a best offer. Lower than what I'm asking. But I accepted his offer. All right? I shipped the item out the very next day. Another week goes by and he writes to me and says, listen, I never got my item. Actually, it was probably more than a week. It was probably several weeks. He wrote back and said, listen, I never got my item. The item was marked as unclaimed because apparently he was using some kind of Dropbox as his address. And they kept it for a while. The time elapsed. He never picked it up. And it's on its way back to me. I told you this a few weeks ago. So I wrote back and I said, listen, I can't do a thing about that. That's on you. You didn't pick up your item. I said, the only thing you can do is open an item not received case with eBay and do it that way. Another week goes by. I don't hear anything and he never opens the case. On Sunday, this clown writes to me again and starts right at the beginning. Listen, I never got my item. I want my refund or I want you to reship it to me. The tracking shows it's on its way back to you. He disregarded all the information I told him previously. So I wrote back and I got a little salty. I said, listen, can you not read? Do you not see what I wrote to you last week? I can't do a thing, all right? There's no need to contact me anymore. Open an item not received case. You did not pick your item up in a timely manner. So he wrote back and said, okay, I'm going to open the item not received case right now, and I'm also going to leave you a negative feedback. This is the guy who's been waiting weeks to do anything, but within 2 minutes, opened an item not received case and left me a negative feedback. The guy's name is Stavros, just like that old character on Kojak. Remember that guy on Kojak? Stavros, get in here. That guy, Kojak would always call him into the office. He used to call him Curly sometimes, I think. Anyway, he's from Hesperia, California, and he's psychotic, in my opinion. But anyway, I responded to the case. I contacted eBay, requested a callback. They looked at it, and the lady said, this is a slam dunk. She said this is all his fault for not picking up the item, and they removed the unfair negative feedback right away. Again, this is all happening between Sunday and late Monday. Okay, I got done with her. I got done with that situation. Now it's Sunday afternoon. My phone rings. It was a local number I didn't recognize, which is highly unusual. So I answered the call, and it was a woman. She said, well, I'm very surprised to see I can get you on a Sunday. She goes, is this Hubcap Joe? I said, yeah. I said, what's up? She goes, I bought something from you on eBay and it doesn't fit my wheel. Stop right there, I said. Stop right there. We're not talking anymore. I said, firstly, if you bought it on eBay, you're supposed to contact me on eBay. You didn't call me on the phone to buy it. Why are you calling me on the phone? And she said, well, when I got the item, I looked at the packing slip and it showed you're in Oradell, and I live in Paterson, New Jersey, which is not far away. I want to come to your store this week and I want my money back. I said, you ain't coming anywhere. I said, not happening. This deal happened on eBay. If you want a refund, we can do that, but it's going to be on eBay. All right? So I said, I had a picture of the correct wheel next to the center cap that I was selling. How could you make such a mistake? I said, I even had the part number right in the title of the listing. How could you mess up this much? She said, well, I saw the part number and the first 5 numbers matched exactly, but the last 5 didn't match at all, but I thought it would work anyway. I said, listen, there are some people that should not be buying things online. You are one of them. I said, you really shouldn't. I said, I don't think you have the aptitude for it. I said, but nonetheless, I do run into quite a few people like you, so I can understand that you made the mistake. I get that. Returns are part of being in business, I said. But why would you call me on a Sunday afternoon, my one day off? That takes nerve, I said. And she started laughing like it was a big joke. I said, now what I'm going to do is something I don't normally do. I said, I'm going to stop what I'm doing on my day off, my one day a week off, and I'm going to walk you through the return process because I didn't want her cheating and saying item not as described. I wanted her to pay the shipping back. So I walked her through how to open a return. She did. And as soon as it went through, she said, hey, why do I have to pay the shipping? I said, because it was your mistake. You didn't read. I did all the work. You're going to pay the shipping both ways. I said, then she says, well, I still want the other cap, the correct one for her car. And she told me what she needed. I looked it up on eBay. I stopped what I was doing. I found it, and I told her who had it. Another seller. I don't want any part of this one, all right? Now, we're not done yet. What do you think she did next? Causes me another problem. She does not use eBay labels, okay? She goes to the post office and pays $12.15 retail. Keep in mind, she paid $8.75 for me to ship it to her. So now she's $20-something in the hole with shipping for an item that's only $23. But now she's caused me a problem, though she probably didn't mean to, because the way eBay is constructed, in order to give the proper refund of $23, I can't, because she didn't use eBay labels. There was no way for me to do it. They would let me give her the full money back with the original shipping. That's never going to happen. So I had two choices. Request a call back from eBay and try and work this out, or just ignore it and make believe I never got it and try and cheat her that way. But I couldn't bring myself to do that because I don't think she's a scammer I don't think she even meant to cause any harm. I think she's just so far removed from the way society operates, she doesn't know any better. All right? And she's not that old. I Googled her. She's in her 60s. And normally, those people are no problem. None at all. But this one was. So what I did was, I simply requested the callback. The representative looked at it and was a little stymied herself as to how to proceed. But then she managed to work it out, where I gave her back the $23, and there was no black mark on my account, and everything walked through fine. All right? No problems whatsoever with that. So yeah, that was wild. Absolutely wild. Continuing, as I said, I had 3 deadbeat bidders this week. One of them sent me a best offer that was lower than I wanted, but eBay told me I'd be paid right away. So I accepted. I wasn't paid right away or at all. And it pissed me off because this person is a seller on eBay too and sells a lot of merchandise. How this person doesn't have $100 on their card is beyond me. I don't get it. I don't get how that could have happened. This person is a current seller, sells a decent amount, all right? But I didn't see a dime from them. So I blocked them, and once again, I pulled my trick of ending the item, clicking sell similar, and putting it back up so he doesn't get his grimy hands on it. If he can't fulfill a binding contract, I don't want any part of him. Next item. A few weeks ago, I told you the story about UPS overcharging me. Very quickly to rehash. In fact, it has to do with the guy I told you about earlier who opened the item not received case and then the unfair negative feedback. I shipped the item to him. All right, it was unclaimed. It was returned to me. And UPS charged me, whatever it was, another $15 for shipping and another $5 for address correction, $20. And I protested. I filed a formal complaint with eBay. All right? And they took the report. They said they would send it in on my behalf and they would see what would happen. Now I'm going to show you by screenshot what happened. I'm going to read this to you, then I'll hold it up to the camera so you can see it. My name is Jeff and I'm with eBay Customer Service. I'm following up with you to share some good news about the added shipping charges. We're going to credit these charges back to your account. We have already submitted the credit for you. The credit will appear on your account within 14 business days. Then it says, here are the details as to why UPS adjusted the cost. There was an undeliverable return fee. According to our service agreement with UPS, once a package is tendered, the shipment is considered valid, even if undeliverable, lost, returned, late, etc. The original charges are valid and not eligible for dispute through UPS. That's in accordance with the deal UPS brokered with eBay. So this proves that they tried to pull a fast one with Cute Joey, and Cute Joey stood up for himself. I suggest you guys grow a pair. All right? Most of you guys were on point and you understood my feelings. But there was a couple of people that said, well, Joe, I feel that those charges were warranted. Well, if you're selling out of the trunk of your car, yes, they are warranted. But if you're involved with eBay in a deal that was brokered with UPS and eBay, they're not warranted. And Cute Joey is getting the $20 credit. I really suggest that any of you guys who get nailed by UPS like that, fight back, eBay will go to bat for you. All right? They will go to bat for you. Let's see what else. Oh, yes. Sales this week were in the dumper, which bummed me out because last week I saw a resurgence, as you remember. I had one decent day the whole week, and that was Thursday. Now, Thursday was my only good day. All the other days, I sold either minimally, and in a couple of cases, I was shut out. I have nothing to base this on. I don't know what's causing it. I talked to some of my friends in eBay Motors. They're all in agreement with me. Sales have been very bad, much worse historically than any year ever. So yeah. All right. I do want to tell you one interesting news story from the week. But before I do that, let's do a little quick rehash with what I talked about eBay-wise. First of all, I must say, in all fairness to eBay, they've been very helpful to Cute Joey this week. They removed an unfair negative feedback. They're in the process of working on the unfair item not received case. That's going to be closed in my favor at some point. The representative assured me because it showed that I sent it to the address they provided. They were helpful with the UPS problem with the $20 I just told you about. So yeah, I think they've really done a good job in stepping up with seller support and seller protection. I would still like to see them fix the search. Search is still seriously messed up in eBay Motors. I can't speak too much about the other categories because I don't sell them. So yeah, I want to tell you now, before I let you go, something related to the news, an interesting event that happened the other day. And this relates to something that happened when I was a kid, a teenager in school. There's a mall located in Rutherford, New Jersey called the American Dream. Let me tell you something. I've never been there. This place is a magnet for trouble. Ever since it opened, I've heard not a single positive story about this place. I've heard of shootings, robberies, riots, swatting, fights, all negativity, not one good thing. So it didn't surprise me when I read a news story in one of the Facebook groups the other day. The incident happened, I think, Saturday that just passed, which is almost a week ago. And here's what happened. Some publicity company decided it would be a good idea for some teenage girl influencer to hold a meet and greet at a store called Sephora. I'm not familiar with the store. I've never even heard of it, but apparently they sell beauty products. So this girl, who's 15 years old, I don't even know what her claim to fame is. They call her an influencer. Her real name is Salish Matter. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of her. I don't know where she came from, all right? I don't know if she's a singer, a dancer. I don't know what she does, but they publicized the crap out of this event that this girl, Salish Matter, was going to be at the store in the American Dream Mall. They promised the first 100 people who applied online and got tickets would be guaranteed something. I don't remember if it was a free sample of a cosmetic or an autographed picture or something. All right? And they also said everybody else still had to register online with your name and all that and get numbered tickets in order to go to the event. So most people followed directions and applied online. When the time came for the event, the thing was an absolute mob scene. I don't know if they said 18 or 20,000 people showed up to meet this girl when they were expecting maybe 500. Where there was no planning at all involved in this thing. It was near chaos. I saw pictures of the mall. It was wall-to-wall people Worse than Times Square on New Year's Eve. All right? Boy, oh boy. Going to these events is nothing but trouble. And they were interviewing people. And believe it or not, the people complaining about the event were not teenage girls like you would expect that this girl's fans would be. They were all middle-aged women complaining. Nah, 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 nah. This thing was handled horribly. Nah, 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 nah. Anyway, this brings me back to an event that happened when I was a kid in the 70s. There was a famous actor named John Travolta. He's still famous today. He started out in a show called Welcome Back, Kotter. Then he also was in Grease and Saturday Night Fever and a bunch of movies. Real popular name. But for a very short period of time, they tried marketing him as a singer. All right? Now, there was a store over here called Two Guys in Hackensack, New Jersey. And I was in there one day after school, and they had a poster up, advertising John Travolta was coming to that Two Guys on Saturday. Let's say Saturday afternoon. And I looked at that. Even though I was only a kid, I said, this isn't going to go well. I said, no way is this going to go without a hitch. So on Saturday, I made sure to ride my bike down there to see what was going on. I was not a Travolta fan, but I did want to see what was going on. And the deal they made was similar to what this Salish Matter deal was. They said that every single customer who bought John Travolta's album in the record department would get Travolta to sign it for free. Everyone. That record department was booming. Booming like they were giving the things away, all right? Just hundreds and hundreds of people buying that album. I saw this. So I see the crowd. It's 2 o'clock. I don't see Travolta. Word comes that Travolta's outside. So everybody goes flying outside to look for this guy. And he's outside, all right. He's up on the roof of Two Guys waving down to people like this. Look. Waving down. The Hackensack police feared a panic. And there was a lot of people there. Not as much as this Salish Matter deal, but there was a lot of people there, okay? And they didn't want Travolta to come down for fear of a mob scene and people getting hurt. So the point that I want to make is not a single person who bought that album got it signed. Man, if that's not theft by deception, I don't know what is. I would have been pissed as hell if I bought one of those things and didn't get it signed if I was a Travolta fan. Thankfully, I wasn't. Okay, guys, that's all we're going to talk about today. I'm Crazy New York Driver, you're not. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it informative, enjoyable, and entertaining. Feel free to comment on any of the topics I discussed below or any eBay topic you want to discuss. And I hope you make a lot of money on eBay this week. Rock on and peace.